Doesn't get any better than that. Hey guys, this is Tim with Little Crow Gunworks. Welcome back to the channel. It's the end of January here in central Minnesota, and normally it's about 20 below right about now, but it is 55 degrees and full sun. This is unprecedented. I don't think I've ever seen this in my life, but anyway, I'm going to take advantage of it. So we're out here at the private farm testing our 22 Nosler. Now that we cropped the barrel down to 25 inches, we're going to see how the factory ammo and our 4 pet loads that we polished over last summer, how they do on paper at 640. And then if that goes well, I'll heave them out to 1030 and try to get some groups on steel so you guys can see that. And that'll put a bow on this the testing portion of this project, and we'll just be getting on to building finished product rifles. So normally I haven't had a lot of shooting footage in the videos, mostly just due to mirage. Last summer it was like looking through soup and you couldn't really see much, but being that it is cooler and the air quality is really good today, so I'm going to try to get some trace footage in here because I think we're going to get some good video. So stick around, you're not going to want to miss this. Thanks. All right, try the N550 daily driver here. Start it on steel. See how we do. .30-14, high and right, a little bit upwind. Quarter minute out of it. Half a minute of wind. .2991. Elevation's good. A little bit downwind. One more. Let's shoot the paper. I'm gonna have to shoot one more because I can't tell where that one went. I couldn't tell the shadow. I couldn't tell if it hit high right again or hit in the center. In the center. Okay. Right 2 clicks, leave the elevation, and away we go. 2987. Missed one in there, I'll have to get that, but alright, lower left target, 5 in a row. right. All right, we're back at the bench here. Let's review how that went. So I think we'll start with the factory ammo. So per usual, we shot that first, and that's been kind of Jekyll and Hyde throughout the series, where for the most part it shot pretty good, all things considered, for factory ammo. We've only had little blips where it didn't shoot that great, where you'd say, okay, well, yeah, that's factory ammo, but in general it shot pretty good. At this barrel length at 25 inches, it did not shoot that great, and I only did one 5-shot group for each load. I did one 5-shot group for the factory, and then one for each of the 4 hand loads. And I didn't modify the hand loads at all. This is just the same thing we were using it when the barrel was 28 inches, didn't change anything. And here's how we did. So let's start by talking about the factory ammo. That did not shoot great. I mean, it's still, you're shooting 640 yards, so a minute of angle is 6.7 inches. The factory ammo, it actually leaked 2 off the target, so there's these 3 impacts, and then these 2 actually went up on the other target. So I measured that, and I think it was like 8 inches of vertical. And then I had to tape these 2 off before I shot this one. So not great, not awful, but not great. Historically, this rifle, when it was 28 inches, and I think, I don't think we stretched it out at 31, but at 28 inches, yeah, we did. At 31 and 28 inches, it was averaging like 4 to 5 inches of vertical for 5 shots, which would be sub MOA, which is, you know, pretty good for considering it's factory ammo. But this time it was a little bit over. That worked out to 1.2 MOA of vertical. And then the hand loads, overall, they shot really good, considering I didn't modify them in any way compared to when we found them at 28 inches. And again, this, when we cut it to 25, we cut the chamber off. So this is a new chamber, newish chamber, and a seasoned barrel. The barrel has 800 rounds on it or whatever, but the chamber and the throat are new. And despite that, and not, you know, tweaking the seating depth a little shorter for the new throat, they still shot really well. So not as good as they did at 28 inches, but again, the loads were developed at 28 inches. So to me, that's kind of to be expected. That, I mean, sometimes you can accidentally get lucky where you shorten the barrel and they shoot better than what you were working with, but that's not very common. So let's review these. All right, so we have N540 on the top, N550 on the bottom. We had a slower load and a faster load, slower load and a faster load. We'll go through those. So let's start with N540. We had, that's 27.7 grains. Our average velocity was 29.75 feet a second with the 80 grain ELDM. Standard deviation was 6.6. Extreme spread was 18. Really good metrics for 5 shots. It shot a 3 1/4 inch group, center to center on these. So you see the 4 shots here, and then 1 drop down. So you think, okay, was that a bad bullet, or did I do something wrong, or whatever? You start to think about what that group would be had it not dropped down. It'd be just over a 1 inch group. But anyway, it did. So we got a 3 1/4 inch group, which is 0.49 minute of angle, sub half MOA at 640 yards for a 22 caliber. Anything is good, really good. And then we care more about the vertical because, you know, the wind component in here is probably me and just not timing my shots perfectly. So 0.45 MOA of vertical, really good. Now, this is something I've been meaning to review through this whole series, but I guess I can go over it now. So I kind of made a little cheat sheet. I might put it up on the screen here, but I'll be reviewing it in future videos just because we recently released a 7mm Showdown series video, and that's brought on a ton of new subscribers. So I'm going to talk about this in that series, but I think I'll review it now. So when we're shooting long range, we care more about the vertical because that's how we decide whether or not we have a viable load. If the load's wide left and right, that just means either it's really switchy wind conditions or you can't read wind very well, or a combination of both. Where the vertical tells you more about your gun control, number one, and two, how good your load is, how good your barrel is, how good all the system itself is. It's taken you out of it quite a bit. There is still some of you that can influence vertical, but assuming you're consistent, the vertical tells us about the load and the system. Where the horizontal, some of that can be you, but that's mostly just wind and your lack of ability to read it. So when we're talking about vertical, this is kind of how I break it down. And people are going to have their own metrics for this, but this is how I break it down. So over 1 MOA of vertical for long range ammunition, like this, falls into the unacceptable category. 1 MOA to 0.80 MOA of vertical, I would call acceptable, where it's like the bare minimum. 0.800 MOA to 0.600 MOA of vertical, I would call good. 0.6 to 0.4, I would call great. So if you look where these are just over 0.4. That one is 0.4, 0.67. So these would be great, great. That's great, bordering exceptional. And this we would call good. Sub 0.400 MOA of vertical, we would call that exceptional. To give you an idea, this one's 0.4. I can't remember what that vertical was. 1, 2, it's like 2 1/4. 2 1/4-ish, 2 3/8 inches of vertical at 640 yards. That's really good, especially for 22 caliber. So when you're getting under 0.4 MOA of vertical, we call that exceptional. Sub 0.2, which we have shot in this series with this test rifle at 28 inches. It's rare, past 300 yards. We'll just call it rare. You can extrapolate that to any distance you want past 300 yards and just do the math to get sub 0.2, you know, like at 1,000 yards, that's 10.47 inches for a minute of angle. You're talking approaching 2 inches of vertical. A little over. Let's see, 10.47 times 0.2. You're talking 2.094 inches of vertical at 1,000 yards. Even if you ask the F-class guys, it's crazy talk to hold 2 inches of vertical. They're trying to hold 5 inches of vertical. 4, 3, something like that. I mean, to hold 2, that's, again, I said it's rare past 300 yards. But for like the 200-yard bench rest crowd, 200 and 100-yard bench rest crowd, sub 0.2 is necessary. Where once you get past 300, it's going from necessary to rare. So I'm sorry that was a little sidetracked, but I've been meaning to talk about this for a long time. It's just, to me, if you're trying to evaluate a system at distance, you measure the vertical. And you have to start putting benchmarks, and I just do it in 0.2 increments, 0.2 MOA. So again, review them. Over 1 is unacceptable, 1 to 0.8 is acceptable, 0.8 to 0.6 is good, 0.6 to 0.4 is great, sub 0.4 is exceptional, sub 0.2 is rare, past 300 yards, but necessary for 200 yard or less bench rest. And again, we've shot some groups, some 5-shot groups at 640 that were sub 0.2 with this gun and these hand loads when the barrel is 28 inches. So this one would fall into the great category. Again, really good. You know, I don't have like, here's some scale. So a Post-it nearly covers the whole thing. So just that one bullet hole is hanging out below a Post-it. You know, you guys look at these targets and you're like, oh, well, you know, it's hard for you to get scale on how big this is because these rings don't mean anything. They're just, you know, economy targets that I found that show bullet holes well. But I mean, these groups are small. You know, you're a little bit bigger than a Post-it there. About the size of a Post-it plus 1. Post-it covers 4 plus 1. I mean, these groups are small. So that one, really good velocity metrics, really good group size, good vertical. I think on average it didn't shoot as well as a 28-inch barrel again, but that's because we developed all the loads at 28 inches. Second one, still N540. This one was a little bit faster, a little bit higher velocity. Again, this one was 29.75. This one was 30.59 was the average. SD was 5.5. Extreme spread was 14. Really good. 3.63 inch group from here to here. 0.54 MOA size group, about a half MOA group, and 0.47 MOA vertical. Again, in that great category. So really good. And then the N550, the slower load, this average velocity was, let's see, where is that? Why can't I find it here? There it is. 3,007 feet a second. Standard deviation 7.6. Extreme spread was 22. 4.5 inch group from here to here. 0.67 MOA group size. Vertical was 0.4 from this shot to this shot. Really good. 0.4 is bordering on that great exceptional. So really good. And then the faster N550 load shot a 5.25 inch group from here to here. These two kind of dropped out the bottom. Again, I don't know if that was me or, you know, who knows what, but it was holding pretty good, and then we had two drop out the bottom. But even so, 5.25 inch group, 0.78 MOA group size, 0.67 MOA vertical. And that one, the average velocity was 31.37, again with an 80 grain ELDM. 9.7 SD, extreme spread 29. And this, if you go back and watch, I think it was part 12, this load, the velocity metrics were way better at 28 inches. And again, I'm guessing that's because I developed it at 28 inches, not 25. So I'm guessing that's what that has to do. And it shot better. This was the load that shot sub 0.2s. This one shot sub 0.2 vertical when it was 28 inches. And now I can see it blew up to over triple what it shot at 28 inches, but still 0.67 isn't horrible by any means. A lot of guys would be happy with that. So overall, shot really well. Didn't shoot as good as when it was 25, but still shot really well. So I think this is going to conclude our testing for this test rifle platform. Early on in the series, we talked about cropping the barrel to 22, but because we lost so much velocity just going from 28 to 25, we decided we're not going to do that. And then I thought about stretching these out to 1,030 yards, but there's not much to glean from that, and I'm guessing it's not going to shoot as well as it did at 28 because these groups are all bigger from a vertical standpoint. They're tighter, they're smaller, and I had the wind, you know, pretty well nailed on all of them, but they're taller, so I'm guessing they're going to be bigger at 1,030 yards, and there isn't much to glean from that other than what we already know, which is that because they were developed at a different barrel length, they don't shoot as well. Surprise, surprise. We have been playing with we got the first two finished product rifles built, and we have been playing with those. Little teaser sneak peek here, I did shoot those at 640 as well when I was there. The two we have built, one of them's in an AG composite stock, so we're just calling that AG, and then the other one's in a Graybow stock, so we're just calling that the Graybow. And the AG shot 4-inch group here to, I think it's from here to this one, but might have been from there to there. Anyway, it's a 4-inch group, 0.6 MOA group, 0.47 a vertical. Really good. Velocity metrics were good, just like the test rifle. But so that one's hammering, and then the Graybow shot even better. That shot a 2.81 inch group, 0.42 MOA group size, 0.4 MOA vertical. And this group you can cover with a credit card, more or less. When you put a credit card vertically, about half of a bullet hole sticks out. So 5 on a credit card at 640. people that would be ecstatic about that, and then there's liars. So both of those guns are shooting really good. So I'm getting ready, and I took photos and some film and stuff. I'm getting ready to do the 2 showcase videos on those 2 rifles. I'll probably put them up on the website before that, so they're basically ready to go. So stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss that. But again, if you have any questions, as always, leave them down in the comments. Thank you guys for following the series along. I know it's been a long road, took basically all last summer, but I think we got a lot of good data from it and found that this system, this 22 Nosler and a long bolt action, is very viable as a 1,000-yard and in long-range training rifle. So thank you guys again for all your support, for following this along. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, all that good stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks.